this is Sharon Calvert, and this is Eye on Tampa Bay. We're talking again with Dr. Jim Davison, who's a powerhouse of knowledge on the transportation issue that he's been involved in for almost 30 years in Tampa Bay. And today we're going to talk about a couple of transportation plans that were in place and proposed in 2018, because All for Transportation claimed that they were the only transportation plan in 2018. It was either their plan or no plan, and that's simply not true. So welcome, Jim, and let's start talking about what was already in place in 2018.
And I hope All for Transportation remembers what happens when a person is conned in a con scheme. Sometimes they're too embarrassed to admit it, but they're very, very astute to not being scammed again. And I'm hoping that the people of this county realize that what was done to them 2 years ago. And I'm going to make it my mission over the next, I think the next election would be in 19 months, to remind them of what happened and to show them that this does not have to happen. When this occurred back in 2018, there were 3 plans, not one plan, to pay for finance for transportation. There was the plan that I helped Sandra Merman authored for the county commission. It was an $812 million 10-year plan that involved
using existing revenues.
Yeah, that's correct. There was no increase in taxes. There was did a lot of construction, a lot of maintenance. In fact, when it came out in 2016, the Public Works Department for the city, or for the unincorporated Hillsborough County, said that it met the needs to maintain the roads and bridges in Hillsborough County. Since 2018, after certain people got elected to the board, that has been changed. And even though they have increased mobility fees, which was part of the $812 million plan, they have waived the policy of having to fund that transportation plan. And for all intents and purposes, under the guise of budget manipulation that it seems that the county administrator uses to no end to get what they want, that plan is now pretty much dead and gone, and it'll be a hodgepodge of placing monies from the budget into a program so that they can get this financed or get that financed. And it's incredible because the value of the programs, the revenue streams in that plan, except for the sales tax, which decreased under the pandemic, have grown faster than what they planned in the plan.
And in 2016, when that plan got implemented, it put back, I mean, historically, property taxes always was part of a funding source for transportation. But in 2008, when that deep recession hit, they took every penny of property tax away from funding our roads. In that plan, they put that revenue back in, along with the CIT tax, or gas tax, the mobility fees. So they had a plan where they weren't having to raise taxes, but they were using these existing revenues and putting the property tax back, because our property values have kept increasing. This pandemic has not reduced the value of the property in Hillsborough County, and we're still growing crazily and fast. So it was very disingenuous for All for Transportation to be out touting that theirs was the only plan in town, because that was absolutely false, because there was one already in place and being funded. And then second, at the same time they were touting theirs, you had a plan and you had a proposal. So tell us about your plan.
Yes, my plan, like most plans that fund infrastructure across the country, was a collection of revenue streams, of which, if I remember correctly, there were 6. There was the mobility fees, which ironically, the board has just increased. I think in 2016, it was $9,000 a year. Now they want to raise it. It has been raised, and it'll approach $25,000 a year. this coming year.
25,000?
25,000 per home.
Okay. Just wanted to
And
make sure.
ironically, usually when you raise impact fees, mobility fees, that's included in the price of the home. The developer never pays that. The homeowner winds up paying that. And then he is taxed an ad valorem tax on top of that.
Mhm.
So the county doubled down on, they not only got the mobility fee money, but they got added ad valorem tax base that they put into the general funds and don't spend on transportation, even though that money is coming from a transportation mobility fee. That's what I'm talking about, what the people don't know and how they're being conned into doing all this.
Right.
That's not me talking. That's a university expert from the University of Florida State University that the Board of County Commissioners invited them, that told them that 100% of your mobility fee will be included in the price of the house, will be paid for by the homeowner, and then you will collect ad valorem tax on that mobility fee. It's a tax on top of the tax. None of that finds its way into our transportation infrastructure. It's just incredible that the people are being duped, that the only plan that they can come up with is a 1 cent sales tax for 30 years, of which you know, and everybody in transportation knows, that the only reason you need a 30-year tax is to pay for fixed guideway plans.
No one wants to ride anymore because the pandemic has already made paradigm changes and shifts in transportation. You know, people would prefer having their own individual safe vehicles than getting on transit with people that they don't know. And we're an on-demand society. So
this was sold as it's only a penny,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's $500 million. How does a penny turn into $500 million? And,
Well,
the other question is, how do we get the message to the local press so they can cooperate and get the message out, or are they going to pull a Washington Post on everybody?
Well, in answer to your first question, Lou, the estimate, 30-year estimate for this tax approaches $15 to $16 billion over 30 years.
Mhm.
And it's a 1 cent tax on basically all sales in Hillsborough County up to $5,000, including business leases. So businesses, small business saw their leases go up by almost 1% overnight, and yesterday they went down by 1%. But this is a total yearly income, and as the sales tax, as the GDP in the county goes up, so does the collection of the revenue. It was estimated that this would grow somewhere around 5% a year. And over a period of 30 years, that's what you come out with, $15–16 billion.
Mhm.
In answer to your second question, the Tampa Bay Times will not even debate it. They have sunk all their money into publicizing this 1 cent sales tax. They are for the 1 cent sales tax. They are Tampa centric and not Hillsborough County centric. For that matter, they're not even Tampa Bay regional centric. They are Tampa centric, and that is pretty much the way they conduct business.
well, and they're
Well, I
tied
expect
to the funders for offer transportation. I
Yes,
mean,
there is
the
those.
people that
they have,
funded offer transportation bailed out because the Times has been in financial straits for probably over a decade, right?
probably as long as I've lived here.
Probably, yeah. And they found a financial benefactor that bailed them out, happened to be the same people that sunk $4 million into an offer transportation campaign. So,
Well, and they're going to say they're going to do this for you and me, that it's the only viable plan, and that was never true. They would not even, they don't even ask the right questions because they don't know what questions to ask. It's that simple.
Didn't they get a message at least when the no tax for tracks vote went up there, and it was 68% against, and they left with their tail between their legs, only to come back and then hire some magician to rewrite everything in a
Yeah,
way that nobody would understand.
Yes, and you
Great.
originally presented it in April, right about the same time that AFT was ready to launch in the May,
Yes.
June.
Yes,
And you also met with the finance director, the budget director, and the chief economist with the county. And
Yes.
they confirmed your numbers and your estimates were accurate. You had a viable vetted plan, and if I recall correctly, you actually sent that plan to the Tampa Bay Times and other local media who just ignored it.
yes, they actually said it wasn't newsworthy.
And then they allowed All for Transportation to go out there with a lie and say that they were the only transportation plan in town.
It's not only a lie, it's the way, it's a sad state of affairs that this is the way people are conducting business today. The truth is irrelevant. It's key messaging. This is how the newspapers, All for Transportation, sadly, the MPO, which paid people, taxpayers' money, they hired them to come down and teach them how to do this. And that is really a sad state of affairs when your own government organizations are hiring people to teach them how to fudge the truth to get you to do what they want.
Thanks so much, Jim, for all that great information. Because we have to remember that we can fund our transportation without raising taxes in Hillsborough County. This is Sharon Calvert. This is I Own Tampa Bay, and we are always looking out for you.